Believe that Jaxson Dart can take the Giants from worst to first.
It is, leave that graphic up just for a second. So 4 of those 5 years, it was second-year quarterbacks.
Yep.
Burrow in his second year, the Prince in his second year, Caleb and Drake in their second year. CJ is a rookie.
And a new coach.
For
Drake.
For 3 of the 5.
Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
CJ, new coach.
Oh, yeah.
Not a
new
sophomore
coach for
quarterback.
Trevor. Yep.
Very interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Anybody want to go worst to first for the Giants? Open question. Coach me.
Yeah, I think it's in the realm of possibility. And when you look at that division, Dallas, who knows how they're going to come out when all's said and done defensively. But the Giants versus Washington. I mean, Washington's been up and down. Philly, all the drama that they've had there, that could implode. And with Jaxson Dart, he did a lot of good things last season. They finished with 2 wins. They scored 30-plus points in those 2 games. His touchdown-to-interception ratio was good. He didn't turn the ball over that much. My concern with him is going to be more whether or not he can tone down this bravado that he has. I know we talk about moxie and aggression. All that stuff is good, but if you're not able to play because you're hurt, then you're no real use to anybody. And I think that could be as much of a limiting factor for him as anything. But you also infuse a veteran head coach in the organization and that stability. Yeah, it's on the table for the Giants.
I'm not predicting stardom for Dart, although, if he does well in New York, he'll get a boost as far as, his image and stuff. And I don't necessarily think they'll win the division, Coach, but I think they could maybe be a wild card, finish second and be a wild card. And you said you're right, Dart, his interception ratio was really good. Touchdown ratio was pretty good. And that was all without his best receiver, Malik Neighbors, who got hurt before he started playing. They were 4-8 with him. They were 0-5 without Dart. And so he definitely gave them a spark. For all the hoopla about Scadaboo, they really didn't have like a great running game to support him either. And so, and I think to your point about his, bravado and just reckless play, I do think Harbaugh can sit down there and be like, look, I've had the greatest running quarterback ever. And he slid. What? He got out of harm's way. You won't survive in this league if you keep playing this way. So I think he has a credibility, not only because he's been a very good coach, but because he coached a running quarterback even much better, obviously, than Dart. So I think that there's a chance that Harbaugh can get through to him. And, yeah, they could make some noise this year.
So I would be stunned. And if Dust, I don't know if you can throw up that graphic again, just because the through line, and so which is why this is a good question, of those 5 teams that did it, it was quarterback driven. Now, yes, coaches were good, but Joe Burrow went from hurt to awesome. Yep. The Prince went from an awful rookie year to top 7 MVP finish. Everybody remembers.
that one's debatable. Top 7
MVP. So, I mean, do with it what you want.
He caught fire though.
He caught fire at the end of the year. CJ was we were calling CJ's year the best rookie year ever until Jaden. And listen, I think Caleb and Drake both benefited from excellent coaching jobs, as, by the way, did CJ.
Yeah. And an easy schedule.
Yes, but the quarterbacks were, for all of those teams, their star player. Like, you know what I mean? The leading from the player side of it. If the Giants are to go from worst to first, I don't think Jaxson Dart's play will be on the Mount Rushmore of reasons. I think it will be, for the Giants, about Harbaugh. It will also take a true collapse in Philadelphia. For Philadelphia to fall to...
Which isn't off the table.
No, I'm not saying, but... So you need that. You also need the Cowboys to not fix the defense and Jaden to not have a bounce back year. You need all of those things to happen and Dart to be solid, but I don't think Dart is going to, reach out and grab it the way I think some of those other guys do.
Yeah, okay, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, I don't think Harbaugh is going to get through to Jaxson Dart in the way that Bruce seems to be suggesting. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't think Harbaugh at this stage of his career really commands that kind of respect anymore. He worked with the greatest mobile quarterback of all time and he got fired. He didn't win a Super Bowl with him. That stuff resonates with players. When you're talking about young, up-and-coming guys, it's not easy to just automatically earn their respect. You don't just get that by default. If anything, the credibility would come more from Matt Nagy saying, "Look, I'm sending you the messages from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. This is what I learned in Kansas City. This is what we did with Mahomes. Andy Reid always preached this." That's where a lot of that influence comes from, not Harbaugh just saying, "I was a defensive-minded head coach for Lamar Jackson." Because then the response is, "Yeah, how did that work out? Didn't you get fired? Are you the reason Lamar was MVP and had all that success?" Not directly. So especially with someone like Jaxson Dart, and I'm afraid I'm going to accidentally call him Jackson Smith-Njigba at some point, given his personality and his bravado, it's a real question. First of all, I totally disagree with Nick on this. I think Jaxson Dart can be an absolute star. Again, I'm not trying to figure out, well, I shouldn't say ever, but at this moment in time, I'm not trying to determine how elite or how special someone like Jaxson Dart can be. Could he ever be considered top 3 in the NFL? I have no idea. And it's irrelevant right now. But he clearly has the talent and the ability to genuinely win you games, the kind where you point and say, "That was Jaxson Dart." He has those moments. He has that ability where we could say, "You won that game because Jaxson Dart on 3rd and 8 ripped off a 30-yard scramble," or "Jaxson Dart scrambled for like 5 seconds and then threw a dart, no pun intended, 20 yards downfield." He has that in him. So if the Giants do go from worst to first, it'll be because of certain games where you're just like, "Wow, did you see that 2-minute drive? Did you see the fourth quarter when they were down by 10? Did you see what Jaxson Dart did?" You have to point to those moments. You had to do that for Bo Nix when he got the Broncos to first place in the actual AFC, not just the division. You had to say, "Did you see that throw against the New York Giants? Did you see that play against the Kansas City Chiefs?" So to downplay Jaxson Dart's impact on the Giants' potential to go worst to first doesn't make any sense to me. That's absurd. Truly, truly absurd. Now, Jaxson Dart absolutely does need to mature. I hated what he said. And again, I loved watching Jaxson Dart, I thought it was exciting and great, and I even defended him when he was dancing after they beat the Eagles and all that. But I hated his comment when he said, "This is the way I play. This is the way I've always played." Those comments always irritate me to the highest degree because it's like, I don't care what you did in the past. I don't care what you did in high school. I don't care what you did in middle school. I don't care what you did in college. This is the NFL. It's a lot different. It's drastically different, which is why we don't see an equal translation from college to the NFL. We know that. So don't tell me about the past. You have to evolve. You have to grow. You have to mature. And I think some of what worked for him, just to even get him settled and situated in New York as a rookie in year 1, in a messy situation, that was great and helpful and it benefited him then. But now it is time to evolve. It is time to grow. And I'm not sure Matt Nagy and Harbaugh are the right guys for that. I keep going back and forth on that. I think those coaches have a stabilizing presence. So even though I didn't give Harbaugh the most glowing praise, he's still a good coach, a really, really good coach. And I think he can stabilize this franchise. And I've said this before, what I see from Matt Nagy and Harbaugh is the ability to elevate the floor of the Giants, not necessarily the ceiling. The ceiling, at the end of the day, will fall on the shoulders of Jaxson Dart. I wholeheartedly believe that. It's just about what kind of quarterback you become, what kind of specie juice you have, how consistently you can call upon it, and not only that, can you also run an offense and run a team that's not consistently reliant on that? Because that is what Jaxson Dart really relied on heavily last season. And again, I don't blame him, he was a rookie in a messy coaching situation. But it's like, can you execute? Or do you have a season similar to what we've seen from the Kyler Mays of the world, where it's like, that was great, that was awesome. The Arizona Cardinals even went on a run at one point before everyone got injured, they were the number 1 seed, they were 8-0 or 10-1, whatever it was. Then they got hurt and things collapsed, and they were never really able to recapture that. But a lot of that was based on the pure talent and physical abilities of Kyler Murray. And we know you have to be beyond that. But it's certainly, at least in the short term and in stretches, good enough to make some pretty strong leaps. But then you need all the other stuff. And yeah, the Giants are at a bit of a disadvantage when you look at other worst-to-first examples from other divisions. Those divisions were exceptionally terrible, complete messes with teams, quarterbacks, and coaches that were total disasters. And the Giants were one of those teams that the Eagles were able to take advantage of. That's the unfortunate truth, right? And I think Giants fans can understand that. The Cowboys, most of the time, are at least competent. The Eagles have the ability, I guess, to implode, but they've also consistently been competent and consistently won. Even in their down years, they've won the division and made the playoffs, right? So you can't just automatically say, oh, I think the Eagles are going to collapse and Jalen Hurts isn't good. It's not the same level as the Tennessee Titans or the Russell Wilson/Justin Fields-led Jets or something, right? It's not the same thing here. So it's harder. And the Commanders are probably one of the more interesting teams in that division because they have less of a track record. The Cowboys and Eagles obviously have a legitimate, competent track record, while the Commanders haven't, until they got Jaden Daniels. Then year 2, Jaden gets injured, so you have to wait and see what year 3 looks like. But it's definitely going to be harder because you don't have those teams that you can just sweep for easy wins. Unless the Cowboys absolutely collapse, they will still be a tough team to beat. Same with the Eagles, at the very minimum, they'll be tough to sweep 2-0 against. That's a nice luxury to have. The New England Patriots only had to worry about the Buffalo Bills, and that was a Bills team that was a bit of a mess. So they could go on the road and get a win. But that Bills team was good enough to bounce back and steal a win on the road. That's not happening with the Dolphins or the Jets right now. There are no Dolphins or Jets in the NFC East at this moment, at least, that's OT how I see it right now. Could there be potential for multiple teams in that division to collapse? Absolutely. But I just don't know if you can say the Giants are automatically positioned to take advantage of that. I think everyone is positioned to be competitive. If anything, it mirrors more closely the NFC North, or maybe to a degree even the AFC West, all for different reasons. I do think these teams are all becoming more competent, more stabilized, more experienced, more talented, and with better quarterbacks that put them in positions to really lean on each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those divisions that really comes down to the final week. It's one of those situations where you win this game, you win the division and you're in the playoffs, you lose this game and you're out, or you need 4 other scenarios just to make the wild card. That's what my gut tells me. We were in one of those other weird scenarios with the NFC North, specifically the Lions, Bears, and Packers. A couple of injuries derailed it, but it was crazy. Near the end of the season, not the very end, but near the end, there was a time when you were just like, the Lions are either going to win the division or not be in the playoffs at all. The Bears at one point were going to be the 1 seed or could have dropped to the 3 seed. The Packers could have won the division and been the 2 seed, or maybe only the 3 seed. It was kind of crazy and stressful to figure out it was all going, and how you even predict it. My prediction is that's where we land with this NFC East team and division. That's how I'm looking at it. But I'm excited to see Jaxson Dart and watch him evolve and grow as a player. I loved what I saw. I thought it was wildly exciting. But it's definitely a little wild, undeniably a little wild. And my gut tells me that Jaxson Dart will be a little difficult to wrangle. I don't even mean just in terms of needing to slide. It's more than that, right? He needs to be better at playing within structure, and that's where you need the coaches to be able to get that out of him, along with his own level of maturity. Right now, I'm on the fence. I don't know if Matt Nagy and Harbaugh necessarily have that ability at this point. I think someone like Jaxson Dart, I think Mahomes would have struggled without Andy Reid. You need that absolute trust and respect where you believe, this is the coach who can take me to the next level. When he speaks, I listen. Personally, at this moment in time, I don't feel like Matt Nagy and Harbaugh command that. So I think it'll be a little easier for Jaxson Dart to still rely on what he knows and what he's done. And I think he has to evolve past that. So it's kind of a wait-and-see situation. But I think his talent is good enough that even if he doesn't necessarily evolve in that way immediately, in the short term he's still good enough and athletic enough. And this team, at least offensively, can potentially be good enough. Especially with Harbaugh and Nagy there, it's not going to be a disaster. The floor will be stable enough for Jaxson Dart to be that difference maker. So that actually makes it kind of exciting, honestly. I don't think it's this clear-cut path. I can't say it with my chest out. Jaxson Dart right now is probably the ultimate wild card when I look at all the other quarterbacks and what they have to work with. And again, I don't see them bringing in the version of a Liam Cohen or Josh McDaniels where I'm like, oh, this quarterback is raw talent, but he's going to be absolutely reined in and able to execute. That's not how I feel about the Giants. So it's really just like, alright, we've got this athlete, this quarterback with a lot of pop, a lot of energy, a lot of talent. What's he going to do on the field? I don't really know. So I'm kind of for it. It'll be interesting. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jaxson Dart and the New York Giants? Do you think they can go worst to first? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.